Hey, what's up you guys? This is a video that I've been wanting to make for a really long time. I honestly remember, God, it must have been like 2 years ago, sitting down and filming this just with the intention to like post on my personal Facebook page or something, because it's something that's so like near and dear to my heart and just so important to me, and I feel like it really just needs to be talked about, but I don't know. I waited for such a long time, and I think I just really had it been like laid on my heart that I like need to talk about it now, and I need to stop procrastinating it. So that's why I'm sitting down here and talking with you guys about this. But body image and self-confidence and exercise and diet and all of those things have been such a huge part of my life over the past, gosh, like so many years now. But I feel like I really need to just open up and share kind of like my journey a little bit with you guys, because in the past 2 years especially, I feel like I've changed so, well, almost, yeah, like 3 years now. I've changed so much. So growing up, I don't remember really ever having like body image issues or insecurities. Like, I remember being probably like 14 or 15 was like the first time I remember kind of like analyzing the way I looked in the mirror and being sort of like, like this, I don't like this, or this, that, and the other. But for the most part, like growing up, which I feel like that's kind of old, like 14, 15 is kind of old to be like first just like noticing your body or having any kind of insecurities. I feel like now it's just getting younger and younger and younger. But yeah, like growing up, I was so fortunate to have a mom that just always encouraged me and told me I was so beautiful, and kind of like any sort of like insecurity that I could have had, she would kind of just squash it before it was even a problem. And so I grew up pretty just like comfortable, I guess. I think slowly over time I became just kind of insecure. I think when you're growing up and you're younger, it's really easy to compare yourself to your friends, and I always had friends that were like built like this big around 00, like twiggy, very like lanky girls. And while there's nothing wrong with that, I think for someone who's not built like that, it can kind of be sort of like unhealthy. When I was in my senior year of high school, my parents made me take yoga and CrossFit, and that really changed was like the beginning of like a change in my relationship with my body. So that was the first time I really like felt like strong and empowered and confident in myself, and that was from exercising. And it was sort of just like this whole new idea that my body was something more than just an aesthetic or something like to look at. It was something that was doing something very powerful. And so I did CrossFit and I did yoga, and I got really into it and I loved it, and it really just, for the first time, I was like, wow, this is what it feels like to be like confident in your body in a totally different way. And so that was really great. And then I took a gap year, and during that gap year I started something called Isogenics, which is a nutritional cleansing company, wellness company. They have amazing products, and when I started them, my body just responded really well, and I lost a ton of weight kind of without trying. It was just sort of I was just trying to live a healthier lifestyle and exercise, and then once I introduced that, it was just sort of like the missing piece of the puzzle for me at the time, and the weight just started melting off of me. And that was the first time that I had ever been like confident in my body from an aesthetic perspective, and I just felt so great about myself. I could wear shorts and not be insecure about my legs. I could wear crop tops. My stomach was like lean and all of these things, and so I felt so great about myself in that area. But I think a piece of the puzzle was still missing. So I thought that when I went to college that I was going to feel just so confident and happy, and I was finally going to have like this like really cool, like amazing social experience, because a lot of you guys don't know that I was homeschooled for a long time, and then I went to a really small private school, and I was just ready for like a fresh start and something new. And so when I got to school, nothing was what I thought it would be, and everything changed. And I got very depressed and very anxious, and I didn't realize that was what I was experiencing, which is weird because, you know, a lot of members of my family suffer from depression, and I know what it is, and I understand it, and I get it, but I think it's really hard to like actually understand what that feels like in the body unless you've been through it. And so I started losing interest in all my activities. I had a relationship at the time that had just become kind of toxic, and I was in a really small dorm, so I was very, very isolated. I was working all the time. My class load was heavy. I just had a lot on my plate, and I couldn't make friends. I couldn't find people that I could connect with, and I think it's such a normal human desire to just want to connect with people. You know, everyone's different, so maybe, like, for me, like, I need, like, one or two really, really good friends. Someone else needs to be with people all day long. They're a social butterfly. They have a million friends. Like, neither one is right or wrong, but everyone's different. For me, I needed, like, bare minimum, and I, like, didn't get it. So, yeah, I got really depressed, and I had kind of, like, I realized during that time that even though I was really thin and I could wear pretty much whatever I wanted, and I was in a good place with all those things, I was so insecure because I was so lonely, and my depression was just taking me over, and it was really, really hard. It's weird because I remember telling someone, because I was in a relationship, and that person is very outgoing and kind of like a social butterfly, very like popular, likable. Everyone knew, because my school is so small, that we were together, and I didn't even have my own identity. People literally referred to me as this person's girlfriend, not Maddie or Madeline, like not my name. I was that person's girlfriend. So because everyone knew that, I didn't get hit on once in my entire time at Rollins. Like when I was out, like I never had a guy come up and hit on me, ever. And while I don't need another person to, you know, make me feel good about myself, that really started to mess with my head. And so I kind of was slowly gaining a little bit of weight back, because I was so depressed, and I had stopped working out completely. I had stopped really doing isogenics because it was so hard to do at school, and I wasn't eating that great. I wasn't very active. I mean, I still was like walking around a lot because I was working. I was a waitress, so like I walked around a lot, but like, and on campus, but beyond that, like I wasn't lifting weights anymore or doing anything like that. And I tried, like I really wanted to find a gym that I loved. I wanted to find a yoga studio, and everywhere I went, I just was so turned off. I wasn't motivated in any way. I didn't think I would like get emotional like talking about this. But yeah, I had started like gaining a little bit of weight, but not a significant amount at all. And I remember like looking in the mirror and being so disgusted with myself and thinking that I was so fat and that I had like fucked everything up, and like I had like lost everything that I had worked so hard for, and just being so frustrated with the entire situation that felt so out of control for me. Like I couldn't do anything to fix it. I remember like my boyfriend at the time being like, look Maddie, like you really need to like start working out again, or like you're gonna start gaining weight. And me being so hurt and offended that he would say that to me, and being basically like, fuck you, I'm gonna do the exact opposite. So like I wouldn't go to the gym or do anything, and I thought once I joined a sorority that I would like make friends and stuff and that would get better, but I really still couldn't find like anyone that was willing to just like be a friend to me, which made me honestly feel even more like isolated and lonely. it's weird because I've never been like an emotional eater at all. Like even my mom and I have talked about that, how like I had a friend when I was a kid who like my mom was like, oh, it's time for lunch, and we were playing, like the girl would like run to go eat and I'd be like, no, like I just want to keep playing, you know, like food was never really a big thing on my mind, but the depression really fucked me up. And I remember kind of like, I guess it would be considered like binge eating, where I would just like lay in bed and like eat like a bag of popcorn or like a pint of ice cream, and then I would just go to sleep. Like I didn't even want to deal. And I really genuinely felt like there was something wrong with me as like a person, but I couldn't understand that like it was depression. I couldn't connect the dots. I didn't get it until one day, like I was talking to my mom and she had like told me, she's like, Maddie, I think you're suffering from some depression. So I saw my doctor and a psychiatrist who's really great, and he put me on some medicine and I instantly started to feel better, but I don't think I was 100% until I was abroad. So to give you like an idea of the timeline, freshman year, like the depression started and then continued until like December of my sophomore year, so like 3 semesters into college. Got on my antidepressant, but I don't think it really kicked in until, I mean, I think it was like it slowly improves over time. So I think when I was abroad in Spain that summer, the summer before my junior year, I was feeling way better. And then once I got to Australia in July, I was there for a semester, like the entire US fall semester, or like down there it was spring. But that was like when I was like, wow, I feel like myself again, you know, like I feel like me. And that was just such a relief to feel, because it's horrible to feel like there's something wrong with you and like there's nothing you can do about it, because you're just, you know, doing the best that you can and it's not good enough. It's so funny though to like think back when I was like a freshman and a sophomore, because I had really bad body dysmorphia, like really bad, where I thought that I looked so gross and just horrible, and I didn't. I was really thin. I looked just like healthy and normal. I don't know why this is like getting so emotional, because like I don't feel that way about myself now, which is like the best thing ever. Like, but I feel sad for myself for that time, and like I hate to think about it, and I think that's why I haven't talked about it, because it's just like painful to think about how hard it was to just like hate yourself so much. But yeah, sorry, I had to like compose myself for a moment. I don't know how much of that I even like want to leave in there, because that was like hard. But and I don't tell you guys any of this to like feel sorry for me. Like that's so not the intention of what I'm sharing. It's just like I want you guys, if you've been there, to be able to relate and to understand and to know that like if you're in that place right now, like it gets better. But yeah, so when I went to Australia, I was like, it was just like the breath of fresh air that I so badly needed. And I'm not saying you need to like go like, you know, 13,000 miles away from home to figure that out, but a change of scenery was just so good for me at the time. And it was just so nice to be around people who were, you know, excited to meet you, and social and fun, and I felt included, and I made a really, really amazing friend there who's just so lovely. And we had the time of our lives. And it was so funny because, like, to backtrack to being at school where no guys ever, like from what and maybe they did look at me and maybe there was, like, you know, whatever, but it could have just been because I was so depressed that, like, I didn't even notice or I couldn't even see that. But it's so weird because once I went abroad, I had the most, like, gorgeous men coming up and talking to me, and at this point I was, like, the heaviest that I'd ever been, and because I had dealt with my depression and, you know, just given myself time to slowly shift my perspective and heal a lot of just the negative things that I had told myself, and, you know, just sort of, you know, shift things around in my mind. It was the most confident I've ever felt, and I still feel the most confident that I've, even more so now than when I was in Australia, now that I'm back at school. This is the best that I've ever felt about myself, the most confident and secure and just knowing who I am. And I think that that's what I was really missing before, and I didn't understand what confidence really was until now. I think that when I was in my gap year and I had that first taste of, like, aesthetic confidence in the way that I looked, I felt that that's what confidence came from. Or that's sort of, like, I just thought that, like, okay, now I've lost this weight, so now everything's gonna be great and perfect, and, like, you know, everything, I've worked through all this stuff that I needed to work through now, like, I'm good. But I'm, like, now so grateful that I suffered from depression and anxiety so hard, even though I would not want to go back and relive that time in my life at all. It really just gave me so much compassion for other people, and it completely, like, made me have to really get to know myself, the good parts and the bad parts, and then find a way to love myself again. It's funny because, like, when I was abroad in Australia, I had all of these gorgeous men coming up to me, and, like, I was the heaviest that I'd ever been in my life, and all along I just thought that, like, men cared so much about the way that women looked, and I had this, like, I had to achieve some certain ideal to be, like, desirable. But I don't know why no one tells women this, but, like, men don't care. They don't care. Like, yeah, there's some men who are a little bit more, like, into looks or superficial, or they have certain things that they like, you know, whatever. But, like, if you're carrying a couple pounds, nobody gives a fuck. And, like, I wasted so much time, like, worrying about what other people thought about me and thinking that I was undesirable to, you know, other people. And that's an absolute crock of shit. Like, I'm calling BS on that whole idea because no one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck. And, like, I walked around spending so much time being like, oh my god, like, I've gained this weight and, like, blah blah blah, and now, like, no one would ever want to be with me. No, fuck that. It's not true. Like, it's not true at all. And, like, it's just such a lie. I've learned so much from this time, and I'm just so grateful for everything that I've been through. And that's why I feel so compelled to share this with you guys, even though it's, like, kind of painful to have to, like, go back down memory lane and relive all of the ups and downs, mostly the downs. But I think that it's so important. Like, I remember earlier in the summer, I almost sat down to film this because I had, like, 4 different women in my life talk to me about how they were, like, healing from an eating disorder, that they thought they might have an eating disorder, that they, like, have, like, struggles with body dysmorphia, self-confidence, body image, like, everyone is so affected by this, and it's such a serious topic, and I think that we live in a very dangerous time that no one really understands right now with social media. Like when I was in high school, like social media wasn't what it was now. Like we had like Facebook, but that was really it. I got Instagram like I think like junior year of high school, sophomore year. I don't know. Like I remember like middle school and like definitely freshman sophomore year of high school. I did not have like Instagram or anything. I had Facebook, but like it just wasn't. It wasn't about like Instagram models and advertisements and these really thin women and stuff. It was just like your friends. Now like we're looking at all of these pictures of people and their stuff is altered and photoshopped and face tuned and airbrushed and like shrunken down so that like our friends are achieving like these unrealistic ideals and we don't even realize that it's being edited like that, And before it was these women in magazines that are like 1 in a billion body type and nobody looked like that, and so you could be like, oh well, it's just a magazine, it's just a model. Now it's everyone, and I think if you don't fit that ideal, you can feel really like shitty about yourself. Like, and there's no reason to. I just think that confidence and self-love and self-care is everything right now. It's so important, especially in the day and age that we live in, and that means something different to every person. Like to me, I love getting a spray tan because that makes me feel beautiful. I like getting my nails done. I like, getting a facial. I like spending extra time cooking myself a really healthy meal. Like all of those things they're self-care and they make me feel good about myself. I still love working out. I've actually recently started Pilates, which has just been like the best thing for me. And I think like you have to do the things that make you feel good. Like when I was in high school and I realized how good I could feel about myself when I ate well and when I took care of myself and when I exercised, like that's a huge part of it. But I think like you have to do it for the health benefits and not to achieve a certain number on the scale or a certain pant size or whatever, because all that stuff, it's like it's great to have goals and it's great to want to be at a healthy weight and to and don't enjoy your don't not enjoy your life. Like I remember not going to like Darties and things in college because I didn't want to like show like my body, because I was so like fucked up in my brain that I thought I was fat when I wasn't. So I didn't go to stuff because I didn't want people to see me like and see what I looked like when I looked fine. But like in my mind I did it. And if you're like living your life where you can't even enjoy it or really live it because of something else like holding you back, like don't let that shit hold you back. Like, and I'm not saying like just gain 1 billion pounds and not give a shit about anything. Like yes, like take care of yourself, but do it because you want to be healthy and you want to have self-confidence, and like let everything else come. And just remember that like people are never gonna like you for what you look like. It's always gonna be from what comes inside, and the rest of it just doesn't matter. Like it really doesn't matter. I love makeup and stuff, but I don't ever like push it on people. Like if you don't like to wear makeup, don't. I think a lot of people don't realize that eating disorders are often associated with mental illness, specifically like depression and anxiety. So it makes a lot of sense that once I, had this depression and anxiety, I don't know what triggered it, if it was environmental, if it was, from the birth control I was taking. I don't know, like, maybe it could be hereditary, like a lot of people in my family have it. I don't know what brought it on specifically, but it makes sense that around that time, that's when I started to deal with all of my body image issues. But like, just know that, like, if you think you might be suffering from something like that, like, or you know someone that is, like, it can be helped. Like, there are a lot of, obviously, like, natural things that can help with, you know, mental illness, but also, like, medicines today are just so effective and safe, and, like, I would really just encourage you to talk to someone, because there's no shame in asking for help. Like, it's just, it's people don't understand sometimes that it's not something you can help. Like, it doesn't matter how badly you want to be happy, like, you just sometimes can't. And, you know, when you don't have the energy to get out of bed and to do things, like, how can you possibly even work out and get endorphins? You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you need that little extra boost, and that's totally okay. But, like, once you get there, it gets so much better. And if what you're going through has nothing to do with any of those things, like, it can still get better too. You know, it's just important to remember to just, like, be kind to yourself and know that there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing, you know, like, you're, like, beautiful, and everything's gonna be okay. And like, I really believe that everything happens for a reason, and, like, I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't gone through all of that stuff, and I wouldn't, like, have learned so many lessons and just become, like, a better person, and a more confident person, and a more happy person, more grateful, compassionate, like, fun, like, more relaxed. Like, everything in my life has gotten so much better since those times. And just remember, like, to just be easy and kind on yourself, because, like, everyone's just doing the best that they can. We all do the best that we can with what we've got, you know? And it's like, I think it was Maya Angelou who said, like, something along the lines of, like, do what you can, and then when you know better, do better. And I think it's just so important to, like, not only have compassion for others, but also for yourself. And, like, it's so easy to be our worst inner critic and be so hard on ourselves, but, like, it's just so important to just be a little bit gentler and bring it back a little bit and just be kind to yourself. I guess that's really all I wanted to say. I just really wanted to get this video out because I just made, like, a big change in my lifestyle recently in terms of my diet, and I feel like I will probably end up losing some weight in the long run. And I didn't want to make this video, you know, in my most, like, fit shape or whatever. I wanted to do it now because, you know, like, let's be real, like, this is, like, the most I've ever weighed, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I don't get on the scale anymore, but I know, like, just based on, like, how my clothes have fit me recently and stuff, that's basically where I'm at. And I'm okay with it, you know? Like, I know eventually it's going to go back in the other direction, and both are okay. I can be happy either way. But I wanted to make this video and be real with you guys now, because, like, I want you guys to see a person who's just being real and honest, and, like, know that, like, you don't have to be this, like, stick figure person to be confident and to love yourself. And to the women who are, like, super, like, lanky and thin and insecure about that, like, you don't have to look like Kim Kardashian to feel good about yourself, or whatever, you know, your, like, ideal body would be. You don't have to look like that to be happy and to love yourself and to have other people love you. I just wanted to make this video and share it with you guys now because it had to be now. I just, it's funny because like when I was really, really fit, I was very active on social media, and that's, I used to post a lot of like fitness, fitspo, like yoga, workout stuff on my Instagram, and that's how I like got a big following on Instagram, or like big. And now I don't really post stuff like that, so I feel like that's why like all of my engagements kind of like gone down. But I don't give a fuck. Like, it is what it is. But it's just funny how like I've got like companies like Black Bow Swim and like other I have another one coming. I don't want to say it yet, but I've had like 2 swimsuit companies now like send me bathing suits and want me to share like try on videos and stuff. And I think it's like fascinating that like me, when I was like at my fittest and had abs and whatever, nobody wanted to send me that shit. But now when I'm like at my heaviest, people want to send me stuff. Like, logically that doesn't make sense, but I think companies want to appeal to everybody, and they know that like I think like a revolution is coming in terms of body image, and it's not going to be all these airbrushed stick figure people, like these unrealistic bodies that like some people are naturally given, and maybe but also like real people too, everybody. Like, and I don't mean to say these things, like I hope I don't offend anyone by talking about girls that are really thin, because I know like some women are really thin and they can't help it and they're insecure about it, and like I feel for you. Like, I don't mean to shit on you. I'm just talking about like the Victoria's Secret model. Like, that's not a realistic body type for most people. Like, most women are not that tall, their legs are not that long, they're not able to healthfully have like that kind of physique, that low body fat percentage. Like, those women are like 1 in a billion where they can do that probably pretty naturally. Some of them, I mean, we've all heard stories about that industry where women like starve themselves to maintain that body type, even though they might be like naturally that tall and like their bone structure and whatever, but like their body doesn't want to be that thin. I don't like want to get into a rant about like the fashion industry and like all that stuff, but all of that to say, like, not trying to offend anyone, I'm just saying like I think it's going to be more about real bodies, real people, like everyone included, and that's what I'm all about, and that's what I stand for. And I'm excited for that to come, because I think it's just like the world needs it so badly. Like, because I mean, like, we can talk about body image and all these things and make it seem like it's like so like vain or whatever, but like women and men, but I think women are especially impacted, have died because of this. Like, people have lost their friends and mothers and sisters and cousins and whoever because of this issue. It's so serious. But I just wanted to open up and share this with you guys, and hopefully you learn something from it, or you know me a little better, or maybe you can relate. But wherever you're at, just know that it always gets better, and there's always a way to get out of this rut that you're in, even if it feels like there's nothing you can do. Like, it will get better, so just like hang in there and don't be afraid to ask for help. I love you guys so, so much. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm sorry that this video has gotten kind of like heavy and emotional. That's not usually the content that I make if you're new to my channel. I usually keep things pretty like silly and lighthearted and fun, and there will definitely be more of that. But anyways, that's my 2 cents on the topic. That's my story. Thank you so much for listening. If you stuck it all the way through, I love you guys so much, and I hope you're having a beautiful day.